When you're an early bird, there is something to waking up early in the morning and like getting accomplished with your day early on. You know what I mean? I feel like the phrase the early bird gets the worm, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like there's something so good about starting your day off strong and accomplishing maybe at least one task that you had, you know what I mean? It sometimes feels like we have a lot on our minds or a lot on our plates, and if we wait later on in the day to accomplish them, then it feels like we're rushing to do something. Whereas if you have the early morning to do it and you get that done, it feels like, well, now that I've done this, let me do the other thing. You know what I mean? It's depending on what you're doing, you know? But I always feel like when you get stuff accomplished earlier in the morning, this is the thing about school that I was always like, I felt like I could have gotten school done in like 3 or 4 hours. You know what I mean? I feel like I could have done all of my classes or whatever I wanted to learn about, right? Like they assign it. And from 7 a.m. or 8 to 11 or, you know, from like 7 or 8 a.m. to 11, I could have done any number of things, right? I could have finished school, gone home for lunch, and then had the rest of the day to do whatever else I needed to, like homework or extracurricular activities, right? But instead, they extended to another 3.5 hours, another 3 hours for the rest of your day. And then in the afternoon, you have like you basically go home or you do whatever else that you're trying to work on or trying to achieve, and then by the time you're done with that, it's nighttime, and then you have to start, it's evening, and you have to start working on homework and so on and so forth. And it just feels like it doesn't feel like it flows. You know what I mean? It feels more like, I don't know, they're forcing you to stay in the place, but like I feel like I could get it done so much quicker. I don't know. It just feels like that. And so I accomplished school for the morning, and then for the afternoon, for the midday, I have like some time to go home, to eat, use the bathroom, do homework and whatnot. And then later on in the afternoon, I have time for like the extracurricular activities and whatnot. But I guess they just want to keep you in just one place for an extended period of time. You know what I mean? Put your money into the institution of school. But I don't know. I feel like I had there were so many times when I was like in like middle school, or like, I guess you just get used to the routine, you know what I mean? And when you're an early bird, when you get used to waking up early in the morning and accomplishing things in the morning, it just becomes regular, and it doesn't feel like, I guess, not as much of an accomplishment. Or I guess it's just kind of like, yeah, I have to wake up and go to work, and then I'll come back and have the rest of the day to do whatever, you know what I mean, to accomplish my next task or the next thing that's on my plate, you know? Or you're an early bird and you're kind of like, I only have one thing to do today, and when I accomplish that, everything else will just go easy for me, I guess. I don't know. Isn't there just like a sense of like, when you're an early bird, you're up to work. You're not, you know what I mean? Like, you're not up to do anything else but to get stuff done. You know what I mean? You're not up because it's like, I genuinely love the mornings. Well, and that could be true too. I think there is a kind of a line there. Don't you think? It's like, I like the mornings because I get so much done, and I get so much done that I like the mornings to do stuff, right? So it kind of feels like, yes, it's great, and no, it's not like you have a choice, you know what I'm saying? It's everything starts in the morning. And we've decided that. We have dictated that. It isn't a matter of like, I want to do stuff during the night, you know what I mean? It's things happen in the morning, things happen in the afternoon, and if you're not a part of it, then you're behind, you know? Whereas you have to wake up early in the morning because that's what your job requires of you. Now, there are obviously midnight shifts and nighttime stuff, but I kind of want to focus just on the early aspect, in the early mornings, in the AM. And so many people are like required to wake up early. It isn't necessarily like their favorite thing, but once they're up and at it, you know, I feel like everything else just kind of falls down nice and easily. It doesn't feel as much of a like a forced pressure, if that makes sense. You know, what's something else that we get forced to do? Okay, I mean, I'm trying to the all right. I'm gonna look at it from like the case of like a criminal or like a guy in jail. Okay, now do you think a guy in jail really cares about waking up early in the morning? Or is he forced to wake up early in the morning because then the guards turn on the lights or everybody starts getting out of their cell? Like, the rest of the day is there. You're just going to sit there in the cell. You know what I mean? It's like everybody's up and moving. If you're sitting there sleeping, you might get messed with or something even worse. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. But it's like they wake up early so that they can get like something started. Something in their day gets them motivated to get up and try something new or try to do something, I guess, productive or fun. You know what I'm saying? Something that really gets their mind stimulated and moving, you know, in a way that it isn't in the cell. But that's an example of like if they could just sleep in there all day or like hang out or do whatnot, maybe that's the future. Maybe that's the future. Maybe they put you in like in a coma where you serve out your sentence. But that's not really suffering, is it? I don't know. And that's also, I guess, cruel and inhumane to make you sleep through or knock out throughout all of those years. It doesn't feel like it's not the right call, I guess. It's living through the prison, living through the time that's the damage. If you could just knock out or say, you know what, I'll go into, and they would have to require doctors to like keep them under comatose. But again, that's why I said maybe that's the future. Maybe that's the next thing for, well, if they just knock them out, then I guess it isn't really rehabilitation, huh? They're not learning anything new or taking the time to really reflect on their actions. They just pass out, wake back up, and they go like, all right, back to crime. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to get at here, or what I was talking about was, when they wake up, they're up. They're forced to. And I guess when you're a kid or when you're going to school and like doing stuff like that, it's like I'm starting my day off and I have to go somewhere, you know. And now that as an adult, it's like I have to get up and go to work, you know. And some people I have to commute, some people have to drive, some people have to do, maybe they bike to work or whatnot. I don't know, but I think that's what's so important. Or like maybe what the pandemic showed us, or like what happened during the pandemic, is that like getting up and going somewhere is like a huge part of like activity for us. It's what makes us like anticipate or get us ready for like the first part of our day. You know what I'm saying? It's I have to go somewhere. I have to do it early in the morning, and if I don't do it, I'll have to do it another time, and I can't waste the morning. I guess you waste the morning because like, and let's say you sleep in, right? Now sleep is very important. Okay? There's nothing wrong with people who like to sleep in or wake up at a later time. You don't have to be an early bird. You just have to be a bird, okay? You just have to be a regular bird. But maybe there's something to like, let's say you waste an afternoon chilling, like hanging out, playing video games, or watching a movie or something, right? Well, let's say you take the time to watch your favorite TV show or a new TV show, and you get addicted to it, and you're watching it, right? Like that becomes your new thing. So then Did you waste the afternoon? No, because you got stuff done in the morning. But if you don't get anything done in the morning, what did you do? You slept through the day, right? So it feels like you're losing time of the day, but you're gaining sleep. And I guess that's the difference, right? I guess it also depends on how you use your night. If you use your night to be productive, like by being somebody who is active during the nighttime, then that like helps you out. You know what I'm saying? That's the balance of it all, is that the early bird is kind of, I don't want to say outdated, but it's just a matter of managing your time efficiently. If you can get stuff done at like 12 a.m. at night and complete it by, I don't know, let's say like 3 a.m., 2 a.m., and then go to sleep and then wake up the next day at like 10 a.m., you didn't waste the morning. You got your stuff done that night. Does that make sense? So then by the time you wake up at 10, you have like, it's still morning time. It's still breakfast and stuff like that. So, but anyways, back to the early bird. You'll realize that people who wake up at like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., people like them, they find it comforting. They find it productive and relaxing, and they enjoy the aspect of being up to do something, whether it's go to the gym, write in a journal, take time to reflect on themselves or whatever they're doing. Like there are certain aspects to it that they find really important for themselves. And you also notice that people who wake up early in the morning, or people who are dedicated and are really about like, are really passionate about something. I remember when I was watching something on social media. It was like a video, and it was Kobe Bryant talking about, and everybody was posting it because Kobe Bryant had passed away, and they were like looking for inspiration. And he was talking about how he was like, if you just wake up a little bit earlier to do just that extra bit of work, it'll make all the difference in your career in basketball and performing and your ability to practice and dribble the ball and carry the ball and stuff. And I remember watching it, and I was just like, he woke up at like 4 a.m. just so he could squeeze in like an hour or two of practice. You know, even a half an hour of practice, just so that way he could get to the court, dribble, shoot the ball, jump, pass, run, do whatever he needed to do, and whatever time frame he needed to. And then he would do another practice in the middle of the day, and then another at night, right? Like he would have these long sessions practicing basketball. And he said that like by the time people realize what I'm doing, or are able to like understand that, hey, he's at the basketball court learning the game. His reflexes, his muscles, his everything is knowing exactly what it's doing before he can even, other people can process what they're doing. And by then he's already had so many hours in of practice, so many more drills, so many more passes and dribbles and jumps and shots that he takes, that it's all instinct at that point. It's just like, it's natural, it's effortless for him, as opposed to other people who maybe do one practice a day and they do it well. You know what I mean? They're in the NBA for a reason, you know. But that little extra difference is what makes him Kobe Bryant. It's what makes him such a huge star in the NBA. And I always thought about that, is that like, you take that, no matter how small of amount of time to get something done or to push ahead, you're still moving forward, you know? And that's the same thing with these early birds, is that like, maybe they sacrifice some sleep, you know, maybe they sacrifice like an hour of sleep so that way they can journal, or they can go to the gym, or that they can achieve a task or whatever. And by doing it, they gain a lot. Like I remember when I was in high school, I I slept like, I would be up late, you know what I mean, at like 2 a.m. doing, maybe texting friends or watching a video or doing stuff. And then I'd be ready to go up and out the door at 7 a.m. or whatever. I guess 5 hours of sleep isn't that crazy. But let's say it was even less than that. You know what I mean? I felt like my body or the energy that I had from exercising or doing sports and all of that stuff, it kept me going. You know what I mean? It gave me the boost that I needed to accomplish the rest of the day, school, and then those said sports and activities afterwards, right? All of that was important. And now the difference is that the difference is that now my time management has, I'm not obligated to like maybe do anything outside of like let's say this podcast. Like, what's the difference if I do this podcast early in the morning, right? Like, obviously I get it out the way faster, but it doesn't really change anything long term. Whereas going to school early in the morning is like, or waking up early to do whatever, maybe finish homework or whatever else I was doing, right? Like, waking up and still being like fully efficient, still fully being able to like get up and have the rest of the day on little to no sleep, right? And what I sacrificed in there was maybe some time for myself, that enjoyable moment, you know? But I guess you don't lose anything, is what I'm trying to say, is that you gain something else by giving up something else, you know? So these early birds, they give up maybe some sleep. Maybe they lose like an hour of sleep. But what do they gain with that extra hour? What does that little hour push them forward just a little bit, just a little nudge in the right direction? Does it gain them more time to exercise, more time to for stretching and to move their bodies and breathe the air and get their blood pumping? Does it give them more time to journal or to read something or to learn about something or to figure out something new that they're excited about? You know what I mean? Maybe they accomplish their goals. So let's keep it very simple. It's like maybe they accomplish something early in the morning so that way it's off of their mind and they just have to finish one last final thing, or they already accomplished what they needed to do for the day. And now they can hang out, enjoy it, take it easy, you know? They gain a lot more time in accomplishing goals early in the morning, as opposed to squeezing in time in the middle of the day or making time later in the day, I guess. But then they're making time in the morning as well. But I feel like you know my point is that early bird, when you're an early bird, that mentality of like enjoying your morning or using it to your benefit and to what works for you and your schedule, obviously, it's really important. It's the foundation that gets you started, you know, it gets you ready for what's next to come for you and your day. What gets your day started? Well, maybe it's a cup of coffee. Maybe you need some of the caffeine to energize you, to wake you up, you know. And because of that, it allows you to get that boost, you know what I'm saying? It gets you ready and it's like, all right, now that I've accomplished that, everything else will fall down. Everything else will get accomplished for the rest of the day, you know? But thinking back to Kobe, it was just like, what dedication do you have to push yourself just a small bit forward? Just a single bit forward, you know? And for him, it was all about playing the game, being the best at the game. And I guess it's easy to look at it from a sports perspective because that practice is valuable to him because it gives him more opportunities to try and get better and better and better, right? Like, there's no perfect basketball player. There's no basketball player that's ever thrown a three and hit it every single time, right? Like, even the best of the best miss, right? But it isn't about like never missing. It's about taking it and having confidence that I practice this, I can hit this, and I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference is you practice, practice, practice to get to a high enough level of the game where when you take a shot, you're more than likely going to hit it. And if you miss, you're going to try it again and you're going to practice it over and over and over and whatnot. So for them, it's just a matter of like, even their losses or their misses are so few and low because they practice, they play at such a high level of the game, where others aren't. You know what I mean? That's the subtle difference. And sometimes people are going to be on it more than you. You know what I mean? Some people are going to have better days than others. Some days, all that practice that you put into the game, into your dribble or into your shot or into your passes and into your layups and whatnot, right? Like it all comes together. And in a perfect moment where it's like, I practiced for this, I studied this, I move and I pass the ball and I dribble it and I move exactly the way I want to, the way I know how, you know? It's all important and it all comes together. And then other days it's like, I need to get better at this game somehow. I need to work on my shots. I need to work on my scoring. I need to work on my defense. I need to work on this. There's always something to improve upon. And when you do, you get to a higher level of the game, you know what I mean? But you'll never be perfect. And you don't want to be either. There's possibilities in failure to even get better and better and better, you know? And stay into that pocket of like everything that you do with the basketball or like what they would do is important. One, because they want to win. It's a ego thing, I guess, or it's like if I'm going to be in the NBA, I want to win. You know what I mean? It's not enough to just make the money. It's about being the best at what you do. And so how often are we in a position where we're like, I want to be the best at this thing here in particularly, you know? And those people will find the dedication. So you just have to ask yourself, it's like, I want to be really good at something, or if I'm going to wake up early in the morning, I have to make it worth it. You know what I mean? I'm already tired. I'm already groggy. I'm already on the verge of like falling back asleep. I might as well get something out of this, anything. If I'm going to lose an hour or 2 hours just to wake up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatever, it needs to be worth it. And if it is, then everything will, the results will show. But I just feel like practice makes you so good to a point where it's like you're damn near perfect, And being damn near perfect is kind of being perfect, right? You're not 100% accurate or perfect or whatever, but you get as close as you possibly can. And that right there is where the perfection lies. You know what I mean? It's that pocket of greatness, that pocket of knowing that I know exactly what I'm going to do when I get on the court, and I'm great at it, And then it just gets to a point where you practice so much or you focus on something so well that over time, there's no doubt that you're so great at it that it's undeniable, You're never gonna be perfect, but your failures become lower and lower and lower, that it just feels like effortless, or it's just like, this is how it is, you know what I mean? This is how I am. So when you're an early bird, think about all of the things that you gain early in the morning, all of the time that you use to your benefit, because that's why you're awake, to make the most out of this life, out of your time and your energy and your mind and your greatness and your smartness and your capabilities. And I feel like there's too many people out there that are wasting their potential, their greatness, their minds. They're wasting the best that they have doing something that they don't in particularly like. And not because they can't not like it, but because sometimes the things that we like to do are the things that are enjoyable, or the things that we genuinely could put all of our hard work and our effort into, but it just doesn't pay the bills. It just isn't economically viable for people. There's no long-term career in it. You know what I mean? Like, if you like to be a chef, obviously there are ways to make money as a chef, like a livable wage, at least, I think. But if you like to work at, like, say, McDonald's, you're like, hey, I like the fast-paced action here. I like that I just make burgers and it's pretty plain and simple. And I want to be the best McDonald's worker or the best burger maker in my store. Hands down, nobody will beat me as a McDonald's employee. But putting your effort or energy into that job is meaningless when they pay you minimum wage, when they pay you nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to be excited about being an early bird and going to work when that's the reality of the situation, you know? But when you take that extra time to put it into something you're passionate about, that uses your skills and your creativity, your mind and your greatness to its full capacity, no matter how short or how small, it's worth it. And you know it's worth it. And you have something that a lot of people are missing out on, or that they pass over because they want to sleep a little bit longer. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of, I'm already doing it. I'm already starting. I'm already here. You know? You're not, you know? And that's the difference. So when you're an early bird, it's the start to the day, and it's the start of you, and it's also the possibility of getting so much done that you become the better and the best version of yourself that you see. And it's all worth it in the end, you know? It's all worth it. Nothing you do is wasted. Everybody has value. From the early birds to the late night, you know, people, it's all worth it. But those early birds, they follow that line. They follow the line that I guess society dictates. And also, they probably just like the morning. They like eggs for breakfast, pancakes. You know what I mean? They like breakfast, and they like starting their day off with the sunshine, the sun peeking out, looking at the sunrise maybe, seeing the sun bloom, seeing the blue sky, going outside and watering or gardening, you know? Simple. It's not too hot, but it gets hotter, you know? Stuff like that I think is very peaceful for early birds. And then you have the rest of your day to be a bird, you know what I mean? So go get your worm, you early birds, and thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.